Hey, welcome to episode 62A of More Geek Than Gay. This is darling little Garfield here. Hi Garfield. And whoever it was who decided that horizontal stripes on Fat Man pullovers is a good idea, they need to be kicked in the kidneys. Yes, they do. Yes, they do, Garfield. Still in a hurry because still 10-hour shifts, so let's get right into this.
There's no need to fear. Underdog is here.
Wonky, tiny, whiny stuff.
Okay, I know that you're accustomed to seeing me laying in bed, every once in a while at a table or something like that, but today is the last day of the 10-hour shifts at work, and I gotta try to conserve time, so I'm gonna be podcasting while I'm getting my morning stuff ready. And for those of you who are, like, not watching this, those of you who are listening, which is the majority of you actually, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, except for the fact that I'm talking about it. Well, okay, so I am busy microwaving a banana right now, because this is part of my morning routine. I make myself some oatmeal, and in my oatmeal I have a banana in it every morning. And if you ever want to do that, it's a nice simple way to put fruit or, that type of nutrients in your food. Freeze a banana. When it's frozen, cut it in half, stick it in the microwave, and a frozen banana actually takes about a minute and a half to do. And when it comes out, it's actually able to be just stirred with a fork. So that's kind of cool. So that is what I am doing right now. The peel will be hot. Ow, 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 peel hot, ow, 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 ow. So there's that, and let me get a fork out to do this. Meanwhile, hi, how's your week doing? Like I said, today's the last day of my 10-hour shifts, so I'm very happy about that. It has been, it's just a challenge every time they do these 10-hour shifts, because it really, I know it's only 2 extra hours, but those 2 extra hours really make it to where you don't have much time to do anything. Because you can't get into anything so much. Because, well, you just don't have those 2 extra hours. And, you got approximately 8 hours of sleep, if you're lucky. Not always. And then you got 10 hours at work. I've got at least 2 hours of getting ready every morning. At least. I've got about half an hour to an hour of drive time to work. So that's like about 20 hours of my day, leaving approximately 4 hours free to try to do everything else. So, not enjoying that. Do have to say thank you to the guys at Joshua Tree yesterday for getting me in and out of there real quickly, because what happened is I went to show up and get our food, plus I wanted to talk to Glenn about the food about the cat thing because we now have vouchers to get our cats spayed and neutered, but it doesn't have a list of what vets we can go to, which is what's supposed to come with it. And he said, oh, just go ahead and use the Humane Society. So, yay for that. Although apparently the Humane Society will be wanting us to buy pain medication for the cats afterwards, which I don't mean to sound cruel or anything like that. Anyone who knows me knows that I do a lot for these cats to try to make them as comfortable as possible at all given moments. But at the same time, I've never done pain medication for any of the cats after they've been spayed or neutered. So that's just weird sounding to me. It's like, really? Okay, they usually just groggily sleep it off for the rest of the day and then they go about their business the next day. So the only thing I'm worried about really usually is them like licking at their wounds, and I've only had one cat do that in the past, although I highly suspect that little Junior may be another one who will do that. So, but an interesting side note, when I was there at Joshua Tree, I was, of course, pressed for time, but I was planning on going through and everything, and I went to the front desk to see, hey, I'm picking up for Joseph, because Joseph's the one that actually has the paperwork already, not me. And the guy at the front desk is like going, okay, and how do you spell? And I said his last name, which is an incredibly distinct last name. Oh my gosh, if you ever heard this last name, you would not forget it. So I tell him the last name, and he's like looking, he's like going, now who is that? Could you spell that for me? And I'm like thinking, okay, here's the spelling. By the way, it's the chairman of the board for this was, I don't know, you're going to have to go talk to Holly. I don't know who you're talking about. What the hell? So Holly was really busy, and I ended up finding Peter, and Peter just waved me through because he knew that I was in a hurry, because I'm always doing this on the way to work, and thank you very much, Peter. I was actually just going to find Peter and ask him whether or not it was possible for him to like pick stuff up for us and then maybe just drop it off at my work, because I work right around the corner from Joshua Tree. But so that was kind of the highlight of my yesterday, was that little thing, which I found just hilarious, that someone didn't know who Joseph was when he's the chairman of the board of where that person's volunteering at. Wow. And it's not like one of those things where it's the chairman of the board and you never see it. No. He's there working with them and everything. It's, you know, it's not like there's a whole bunch of different offices and the chairman is at a different office. So I don't know what was up with that. Joseph, as you can see, is not here. He's still out of town. He and Gini are still doing the book tour, which is supposed to be going very well. Joseph texted me yesterday and said that Gini got him drunk, which, okay, no surprise there. And not necessarily no surprise that Gini got him drunk, no surprise that he's drunk. The boy doesn't hold his liquor well anymore, okay? And all you gotta do is hit him with a little bit of a party, 3 cocktails, woo, he's fun. So that's how that is going with Joseph. And now I'm just trying to figure out my oatmeal options here. And I think I will do this. If you guys have a Big Lots anywhere near you, go there to where they have the cereal and stuff. They have, what is it called? Oat Revolution, and they sell it for $1. In the stores it'll be like $2, $3, and it's a really nice oatmeal combination because it has oats, it has flax, it's all natural, it's really nice. And if you fluff it with other, because I make a huge bowl of oatmeal in the morning because this is going to be my main meal for pretty much the day. At my work we don't have lunch hours. I mean, in theory, I could do a lunch hour, but then I only get paid for 7 hours of work. Although, during mandatory 10s, I guess that's not as much of an issue. But during mandatory 10s, they really don't want us leaving those desks. And with today being the deadline, woo! So I make myself a huge bowl of oatmeal, basically 3 servings worth. And I try to make sure that it covers as many bases as possible in the nutrient department. So there's banana, there's strawberries, there's all sorts of fun in there. Do I still have some? I still got some dried cranberries, so enjoy the dried cranberries. I should put some of this wine in there. That's the way to start off the morning. But let's see. That pretty much covers my week, as I said. So, onward onto news. Interesting little developments. First up, I'm going to start with some news that I heard regarding TV shows. And that is S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been renewed for another season. Not a surprise. I don't care if it was in the bottom of the ratings. That thing was going to get renewed. Okay? It's attached to a major franchise with a major name who does not have a huge success with long-running, with many long-running TV shows. I mean, yes, we got Buffy, we have, I think it was either Alias or La Femme Nikita, and we have Angel. Pretty much everything else he's done has run a season or 2, so it wouldn't have been that surprising if it had been canceled. But he's still a big enough name, he's hot enough, he's one of the things that people are like going, that's the reason why the Avengers succeeded. And that Marvel movie franchise is so huge. Like I said, this could have been in the bottom of the ratings. They would have brought it back for a second season to try to retool it. Hell, they probably would have brought it back for a 3rd season, even if it failed in the 2nd season, to try to retool it. Because it's that big of a deal. That said, it's gotten better. It's a much more watchable show as you go along, and as I said last week, or the week before that, the show has improved when you already know what the spoiler is for Captain America. Okay? That just makes the show better, in my opinion. It gives you a sense of what they're really fighting for, because those beginning stories really do meander for no apparent reason. It takes about halfway through the series before they start actually seeming to have a purpose. And even then, it's like, not 100% certain what that purpose is. So, that show's gotten better. I am looking forward to the 2nd season. I'm still not fully caught up with the DVR on that because I'm just not. 10-hour shifts. Remember, we did the whole spiel. The interesting thing is that they also greenlit a 13-episode season of Agent Carter with the intention of it, from the best of my understanding, with the intention of it being a long-running show. This is very interesting. Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not a huge hit. Yes, it started picking up again basically after Agent Coulson's revelation as to how he was dead and now he's not. But still, it didn't pick up enough that you normally would have thought of it having a spin-off show. But they're giving a spin-off show to it. What it is Agent Sharon Carter. You've met her in Captain America. She's the World War II agent. And this is going to be basically her and Dum Dum Dugan and all those forming S.H.I.E.L.D. at the very beginning. Kind of curious what else is going to happen here. I think one of the things that we're going to see is with them doing this is that we're going to see them laying the groundwork for what we've already seen. We're going to get some backstory. We're going to get to see Tony Stark's father, probably. That's a big one. We may get to see some of these World War II heroes and like 50s heroes that would later make someone like Tony Stark think, yeah, I could wear a suit of armor and just walk around and fight crime. Yeah. So that might be what we're going to be seeing there. And also possibly little revelations of stuff that's going on in the present that we think is one way, but actually, no. Like, we may see when and where the big twist that happened. You know what, it's a couple weeks old, it's all over the interwebs. Hydra is part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, Hydra has gotten into S.H.I.E.L.D. And we may get to see where that happens with Agent Carter. We may see the beginnings of that, maybe with Baron von Strucker or something like that. We may introduce Baron von Strucker. So that is kind of cool. At the same time, not 100% psyched on it, just because I remember how slow Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was, and this has only got given 13 episodes so far, and it took 13 episodes for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to become worth watching. So, we'll see how that goes. Also, ABC, which is Disney, of course, has not only greenlit... I have basically all sorts of ABC news. It just dawned on me. Because we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. Also, they have a fantasy comedy that's going to be coming out called Galavant, which, go online, go see the trailer. It's really cute. Now, I've seen fantasy comedy on TV before. Comedy Central had aired this TV show Crodman Dune, and that was it's really cute. Half an hour each. It only lasted one season. It may have only been intended to last one season. I've never fully understood if it was meant to be ongoing or if it just told its story, was done. Galavant, big production values, big backstory. There's a prince or a dashing hero. He's in love with a princess. She gets kidnapped by the evil king. He's gonna marry her. He goes off to rescue her. He shows up, and I'm not giving anything away if you watch the trailer. Well, he shows up and things don't go quite as well as expected when he saves her. And time passes, and now someone else needs him to be a gallant hero and save the day. Part of the loveliness of this, other than the nice little surprise of things not going quite the way he expected, is that it's a musical. Yes, you get cute little musical numbers even in the promo. So that's really cool. Someone was sitting there going, have they not learned anything from Cop Rock? And I'm like thinking, have they not learned anything from Glee? Because this doesn't look like Cop Rock. This is not a big serious thing. This is Glee. Well, except for it's not Glee, clearly. But it's more in that tongue-in-cheek, we have light, we have heavy. I don't think the musical thing is going to affect it negatively at all, especially since the music is being done by Alan Menken. Yay! So, that is something I'm looking forward to. They also have another show called Blackish that's coming out that actually looks really good. Not really much more to go on that one. Again with ABC, Once Upon a Time, they introduced a new character. And I don't want to get deep into this because this one is still fresh enough that this could be spoilerific. But while I know there's a whole bunch of people that are going to be excited about this character being on there, the moment I saw that this character is introduced, I'm thinking, what next? We're going to have Buzz Lightyear? What is this? We're just going to start using... Okay, whatever, Disney. If you got a property, apparently it's going to show up in Once Upon a Time eventually. So... Then again, I kind of gave up on Once Upon a Time pretty much after its first season, because I found it interesting when they were still when they were living their Storybook lives. But once they became aware and fully ingrained into, oh, hey, I was Prince Charming, hey, I was Cinderella, or hey, I was Little Red Riding Hood, much less interesting for me. It was much more interesting when all of them had been erased and seeing what brand new lives they built from scratch when they were all placed in Storybook. That I thought was interesting. The idea of them now knowing their past lives and kind of mixing those two together and going back to Fairy Tale Land and all that, not as compelling for me. I don't think there's strong enough actors to pull that off. That's really one of the big things for me. The introduction of the Wicked Witch of the West, I don't think that actress is strong enough. We're looking at actors who need to know how to play bigger. They need to be able to chew up the scenery and blow up a room. The lady who plays the evil queen, Regina, she knows how to do that. Rumpelstiltskin, he knows how to do that. Really, the rest of the players, they don't really know how to do that well. And that's how come they fit nicely when it was Storybook and they were just living out regular lives. Once we start getting dragons and enchanted lands and going back and forth with spells, and they need to be bigger, and they're not. They're just boring. And that's when I gave up on it. Possibly if they had been bigger actors, able to do bigger, not bigger actors, but able to play bigger, I might have been able to stick with it once they got their fairy tale lives back. But, for me. And what they should have done is they should have hired a whole bunch of theater actors, because theater people know how to do that in general, especially Shakespearean actors. That's why people have issues with William Shatner, because he's a trained Shakespearean actor, and that's how come he can ham it up like you wouldn't believe. But if you pay close attention, he's really dependent upon a good director. You can get a really strong performance out of him. The Intruder, Roger Corman got a really good performance out of him. Excellent performance out of him, actually. And say, Undiscovered Country. Watch that one. There's a lot of beautiful subtlety in his performance there, okay? That's what you get when you get a Shakespearean actor. You get someone who can bring in subtlety, rein that stuff in as long as he knows that he's supposed to be reining it in, and then blow up a room right in the very next scene. And still keep that same nice intensity and power the whole way through. Love that about Shakespearean actors. Interesting news, getting off TV right now. Don't really have any gay shows right now, haven't really watched anything, so we're pretty much done with TV for the moment. The only thing that happened is RuPaul's Drag Race, but that was basically a reunion clip, or not really a reunion, that was like a, hey, look back at the season clip show. And we were just reminded on, really these three girls were three of the most talented ones and should end up. The top five were the top five, basically. Okay, any one of those top five could have been in the top three, except for Bianca was definitely going to be in the top three. And I'm sorry, I think Adore was definitely going to be in the top three. Not from the very beginning, but after about episode 3 or 4, that girl stepped up and there was no stopping her momentum. But that's really it. So no news there. But I do have Phoenix Comic-Con news. Phoenix Comic-Con just announced this morning a brand new guest. And it's one that I know a lot of people are going to be all sorts of Twitter-pated about. Stephen Amell? I know I'm getting his name wrong. I am one of the few people who don't watch the show. So... But yes, Green Arrow, he's going to be there. He's only going to be there on Saturday, June 7th, though. So he's one of those one-day panelists, just like Stan Lee is only going to be there on Sunday, June 8th. So there are still tickets available. There's been a rumor going around that I'm not exactly sure where the rumor sits at this moment, but there's been a rumor going around that they're going to start having to cap it because it is starting to sell out. So I recommend that you go online, get your tickets now. Okay, they're cheaper than what they will be at the door. So get your tickets now so you can make sure that you can get there. Okay, that's my one little Phoenix Comic-Con plug. Okay? I do want to talk more about Leprechaun, but I'll have to do that later when I have more time. And I do have movie news. Only slightly in passing movie news. And that is, they have announced that they plan on doing, well, I read a new movie that they're planning on doing. Now, I'm sure that many of you are aware of the Lego movie and how successful that was. Well, most likely they're doing a sequel to that. I believe I even saw that that was greenlit. The interesting thing is that due to the success of the Lego movie, Hollywood has decided, hey, let's do a Peeps movie. Yep, you heard me correctly, a Peeps movie. Those little marshmallow chickies. I'm sorry, Hollywood, the two don't equate. It's supposed to be kind of a Lego movie style movie, but it makes no sense. Lego is a big franchise that has already been tied in with a whole bunch of different movies and plots and stuff like that. They have a successful line of video games that have storylines in them that people really like because they take regular characters and the regular storylines like of Star Wars or Indiana Jones or Batman, but also add Lego humor to it, and it proved that, oh, people are willing to watch that. They've already done successful cartoons with their Lego brand humor and products. So it only made sense that, of course, we're going to go into a Lego movie. That, or not make sense, but it's like, okay, that's a reasonable next step. When Peeps is a food. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been a cartoon, there's never been a video game, there's never been anything really story-wise to make them think that people are like clamoring to go see a Peeps movie. So, good luck, Hollywood. That's what we're getting in our future. Also, you know that wonderful movie that was Wolverine? Yeah. Remember that wonderful movie that was The Wolverine? Yeah. They've greenlit a Wolverine 3. I don't know why. No one's liked the other two enough to really warrant this, but I think it's because they want... The only thing I can think of is that they're wanting to keep that property fresh in people's minds and keep Hugh Jackman as long as they can, while they also possibly work on explaining how they can find a replacement actor, because they're going to have to do a replacement actor at this rate. Okay, they don't show any sign of letting go of that character, so... And Hugh Jackman is not going to be able to play that character forever. He's going to have to let it go eventually, and unlike Iron Man, where you could have Tony Stark behind the scenes and put anyone in the suit, matter of fact, James Rhodes should be in the suit any day now, Wolverine is Wolverine, okay? I don't know how you're going to do a replacement on him, but... They gotta, and they better start planning this stuff now. Same thing with Storm. Halle Berry is not going to come back for another turn at this, okay? For better or worse, she's not coming back. So, Marvel, find yourself your new Storm now too. Maybe we can introduce them in the next movie, X-Men Apocalypse, I believe it is. And maybe you could do some sort of weird time travel-y, alternate universe, blah 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 story to make these new actors the real deal. I'm willing to go for it. I know a lot of people will go, no, you can't do that, but you know what, James Bond, Doctor Who. We do it all the time. So that's movie news. Last but definitely not least, especially in my heart for the day, is comic book news. This seems to be the year of like comic book universe-wide stories. We've got DC, we've got Marvel, And we've got another one. And other companies are doing theirs as well. Zenoscope with Grim Fairy Tales and stuff, they're doing something that looks company-wide with their Age of Darkness storylines. I just, unfortunately, am not well-versed enough in their universe to be able to say anything one way or the other. Valiant, I believe, is doing one right now. I think they're doing their Unity storyline again. Now, the DC one, everybody's been talking about. New 52, Future's End. Number 1 came out just last week. It's a weekly, so every week another issue. Issue 0 came out during Free Comic Book Day. Issue 1, I'm sorry, I'm having more of the same feeling as I did for issue 0. I'm bored. It takes place 5 years or so in the future. We have the character Batman Beyond having been sent back to try to stop an event that causes horrible, horrible things to happen in the future. Unfortunately, when he's sent back, he isn't sent back far enough, and so he's sent back to 5 years in the current DC Universe's future. And for the most part, what we're getting to see is a whole bunch of stuff happening 5 years from now. That's nice. Okay. Unless they plan on doing like they did with 52, where they did the 1 year jump, or like they did with Legion of Superheroes, where they did 5 years later, none of this really matters. Because the present time, anything can happen still that will change anything we saw in here. So it doesn't matter the character that we see on the last page is dead. Well, that character's dead 5 years from the stories that we're reading now. 5 years in comic book time. So who knows how long that actually is. And the whole premise is that he's going to be changing the past to try to keep his future from happening. So even this death doesn't mean anything 5 years from now. Incredible amounts of no drama, no story, no anything. This better pick up really fast. Basically, I think what they're doing is they're trying to clean house, because when they created the New 52, they also, supposedly this very well planned out thing that they had planned all this time, this isn't just something that they did spur of the moment, no, not at all, had built-in inconsistencies within like 2 months. And Future's End is probably there to help straighten out those inconsistencies. Okay? That's really what that is. And it looks like it's as well planned out as that, as 52 was. Marvel, on the other hand, has Original Sin. 8 issues. For some reason I want to say it's every 2 weeks, but it might be every week. Or, I mean, it might be just monthly. It's carrying out through a whole bunch of other issues as well, where we're going to get revelations of stuff, because what happened is we have the character the Watcher, who oversees everything in the Marvel Universe. He's stationed on the moon. Someone kills the Watcher and steals his eyes, and therefore somehow gets the ability to see everything that he's seen. So this is already gearing up to be much more interesting than Future's End. Hold on just one moment. Hey. Hey, Junior. Come here, Junior. Oh, Junior. How you doing, Junior? I'm picking you up. I'm putting you back in the room. Yes, I am. There you go, Junior. Ha ha ha. Okay, I'm back. I had to go take care of Junior real quick. But Original Sin already is a much more interesting story. We've gotten to the point where the Watcher's been killed. They realize that he's been killed, which means that there is a killer somewhere, and they need to go find out who this person is. Got ourselves the regular cast of characters, although, interestingly enough, a whole bunch of people are coming in from different angles at it, who possibly are aware of it for different reasons. I don't know. The only bad thing about Original Sin is that, like I said, it's continuing on and tying into a whole bunch of other comic books. And it looks like it is going to be retroactively putting in bits of history into those stories. Spider-Man looks like he's going to be developing another person who possibly was bitten by the same spider, who we've not heard of from all this time. I don't know. So, I mean, things like that. And while revelations are really interesting sometimes, other times it's just sticking stuff in for no reason. And that is a concern. I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to be a bad thing. Maybe it will be good. But it is a little bit concerning already. The third universe thing is interesting because it's starting with a universe thing. And this is one that I feel a little bit guilty about giving a try to, but I thought, you know what? It's been years. We'll give it a try. And that is Chaos #1 from Dynamite. Now, Chaos is using characters that were originally from Chaos Comics. Chaos Comics was originated by Brian Pulido. He created Lady Death, Purgatory, Evil Ernie, da-da-da-da. Over the years, he lost the rights to them, apparently in one big bundle, except for Lady Death. He fought tooth and nail to keep Lady Death. My understanding is if you run into Brian Pulido, do not ask him about the other properties. He is not happy about how all this went down and how he is no longer the owner of these other properties. Which is why it makes this kind of a touchy thing. He lives here in the valley. He's a nice guy. I've interacted with him a couple times. And these are all his properties. His name isn't even mentioned, or his creations, his name isn't even mentioned anywhere in here. But this was done years ago. Things happen. Okay? People buy properties all the time. The best thing I can say about this is, in spite of, well, Chaos Comics had a reputation for two-dimensional characters. So does Zenescope. Zenescope has that reputation undeservedly. They have some good writers that actually put a lot of thought into it, and people think they're two-dimensional characters because there's lots of tits and ass. Chaos, those characters developed big long histories. Only one character didn't have tits and ass going for it, though, and that's Evil Ernie, and only one character actually had a distinct personality from the very beginning, and that's Evil Ernie. They did start out as two-dimensional characters. That reputation was well-deserved, and only with time did these characters develop into anything else. So, that said, this first volley, vapid by Chaos standards. Okay, I don't think Chaos would have put this out. It doesn't have the glee of wanton destruction or sexuality that their other stuff did. Their other stuff was not meant for kids. So, but this is not for kids, but it's also, it's gearing up with some sort of war between the vampires and someone. And Evil Ernie's in here doing his thing, and it looks like Evil Ernie is serving a new master because he used to kind of work with Lady Death. That was his big thing. He was bringing death to everybody. Well, they can't use Lady Death. Brian Pulido still owns her. So they have a new character. It looks like, I could be mistaken, I'm not super familiar with the Chaos universe, but it looks like Evil Ernie is working with some other character. The interesting thing is, I don't care. The interesting thing is, it's not interesting. It's just, basically it's a bad imitation of Zenescope. Okay, it's taking a lot of the story building techniques of Zenescope without any of the characters, with the two-dimensional characterization of Chaos, So we have been there, done that, and there's nothing new. The most interesting thing for me in it is the center spread, which features an ad for the return of Vampirella, which has always been the character that any writer wanted her to be for that story. Again, not the most definite character, but it will be written by Nancy A. Collins, who is a Bram Stoker Award winner who is also familiar with writing comic books. So that right there has me interested in Vampirella. Not a guarantee it's going to be good. We don't know how much control Dynamite is having over all of this, but hopefully it will be good. And I just found out that a kitten bit my copy. What you gonna do? So that basically catches us up on news here. And just one moment. Okay, back. Had to go do some little cat stuff and everything, get Lurky out of his glorious apartment because Lurky's on a special diet. That's one of the cats. He's on a special diet. He gets like he gets urinary tract clogs, and so he has to be on special food. And to make sure that he eats his food and not the others' food, and that the others don't eat his food, they eat their food, he goes into the bathroom and eats. And he's actually got to where he really likes going to the bathroom and eating. Okay, that's like, he'll come and get you, and it's like, hey, I'm getting my food, right? But that's his glorious apartment. He gets to luxuriate in his tub, and sometimes he'll just hang out in there, and he'll like tell you, hey, come on in. And really quick, I want to, come here, little one. For Joseph, because he's been away, and hey, Junior. Here's Junior, Joseph. She's doing okay. She's wondering what's going on. But that is basically this week's episode. Like I said, everything's on the run because I'm on the run. Want to address a couple comments. Thank you, Terry and Chuck/Stewie Monster and Tina for commenting this week. Especially given the fact that I just went and whizzed through something. And yeah, Tina, you were on. You were also on the panel of Mercy. Yes, you were. And Terry, I don't understand your comment. You haven't been able to see me? I mean, last episode, if you were watching it on YouTube, then it took a while for you to get to see me entirely. But apparently, it took like 3 episodes she got to see me. So fill me in on what that is. Okay, Missy. Take as much time as you need, but of course, those cookies are something that everybody wants. Okay? Just letting you know. Everybody wants those cookies, Missy. Also, Jamie Wyman, get well. She put her notes about the con up, and in it she stated that she was tempted just to steal my blog and link it, and I'm like, well, go for it, honey, whatever, because you're sick with con crud. You got a fever, so feel free to relax, okay? Get better. It's con crud. It goes away. So that is comments and everything this week. Make sure to check out Joshua Tree Feeding Program. They are a non-profit organization that helps people with HIV and AIDS get food. They also have a sister program that helps people get food for their pets, so you don't have to choose between feeding yourself and feeding your pet. You can get more information about them at www.jtfp.org. They're an all-volunteer organization, so check them out if you can give them some help. They greatly appreciate it. Also, thank you to Compete Sports Magazine. I will put a link up for you guys if you want information about sports in general, but also with a little bit of flavor, shall we say. Check out Compete. The link's up there. Joseph has articles in it. So, thank you. I look forward to catching you all this weekend. And without any further ado,
Hello, Miss Peters.
Oh, hello, Robin. I didn't see you.
Yeah, most people don't. Listen, I'm running away from home, but I did want to stop and say goodbye.
Oh, you running away from home? How come?
Well, because nobody notices me around here.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
See? I mean, no one cares about a 6-ounce frog.
Robin, you've got to believe in yourself. If just one person believes in you, deep enough and strong enough, believes in you, hard enough and long enough, before you knew it, someone else would think, if he can do it, I can do it. Making it two whole people who believe in you, deep enough and strong enough, believe in you, hard enough and long enough, there's bound to be some other person who believes in making it a threesome, making it three. People you can say, believe in me. And if three whole people, why not four? And if four whole people, why not more? And more and more. And when all those people believe in you, deep enough and strong enough, believe in you, hard enough and long enough, it stands to reason you yourself would start to see what everybody sees in you. And maybe even you can believe in you too.
We will miss you, Jim Henson. Matt.
Cancel.
What?
Cancel. Cancel the production number. Cancel everything.
What about the tribute?
I did it all wrong. I mean, when you read these letters and when you know how much people loved him, we can't do a tribute to him.
Kermit thought we could.
Oh, but Robin, all we have is silly songs and whoopee cushions.
Well, maybe that's enough. Well, that's what Uncle Kermit says. Take what you got and fly with it.
Fly with it? Kermit says that?
I think he learned it from Jim. You know, this Jim Henson may be gone, but well, maybe he's still here, too, inside us, believing in us. If just one person believes in you, deep enough and strong enough, believes in you, hard enough and long enough, before you knew it, someone else would think, if he can do it, I can do it. Making it two whole people who believe in you, deep enough and strong enough, believe in you, hard enough and long enough, there's bound to be some other person who believes in making it a threesome, making it three. People you can say, believe in me. And if three whole people, why not four? And if four whole people, why not more and
hard enough and long enough. It stands to reason you yourself will start to see what everybody sees in you.
And maybe even you.
Can believe in you.
What a good song. I knew you guys could do the tribute for Jim.
Well, that was the Muppets with Bernadette Peters doing, what is the name of that song? It's like One More Person, or If One Person, something like that. It was originally performed on The Muppet Show during season 1 when she appeared on there, but as you can see, they also used it as a Jim Henson tribute. No real reason for that song to be our closing song other than the fact that that song every once in a while gets stuck in my head, and so I thought, let's get it stuck in other people's heads. Yeah! And so, now it is time for comic book story time. Yay! And I've got a giant-sized man thing for you. Get your mind out of the gutter. It's giant-sized man thing. Number 1. Man thing versus the Glob. Back from the dead. Yes. And I'm going to be whizzing through this puppy because that's what we do. It is How Will We Keep Warm When the Last Flame Dies, written by Steve Gerber and drawn by the great Mike Ploog, with inks by Frank Chiaramonte? I don't know. The scene starts with our friend Man-Thing. He's a swamp creature. He's a swamp creature, not like Swamp Thing so much, because Swamp Thing, he's all talky and philosophical and you can't get him to shut up. Man-Thing, he's just a creature of emotions. He senses other people's emotions. Sometimes emotions cause him pain. Sometimes, like fear, if he touches things that cause him pain, he'll try to get rid of things like hatred and things that cause fear and all that, because they hurt him. And fear specifically causes some sort of weird chemical reaction, and it causes like a weird chemical burn to start occurring. So things that fear burn at his touch. Things that hate, and they usually just get thrown around until they're unconscious and they stop hating, because then he's not unhappy anymore. And if things are happy, then he likes those, and he goes to those, and it makes him feel good. And then they see him and they're all fear, and then he has to set little bunnies on fire. It's sad. But he's in a swamp. He's in a swamp, wandering around, and then we come across a scene where some truckers are being stopped by some cultists. They are worshippers of entropy, and they have decided to stop these truckers because these truckers have some sort of thing that goes against entropy. It goes against entropy. Yeah. Everyone knows that entropy is the hip and happening thing now, kiddies. Especially back in 1974, everybody was into entropy. Yeah, they were the next big thing, bigger than the Beatles. And to aid them in their hopes of creating more entropy, they have a big giant golden brain in a globe. Yeah, big golden brain in a globe. And in the big giant golden brain in a globe is something that causes poor Man-Thing pain. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the thing in the globe. Well, the main cultist, he uses the big giant globe in a brain in a globe. There we go. To create some sort of weird electrical monster out of the swamp. Because they're in a swamp. That's where Man-Thing hangs out, because he's a swamp creature. It's hard to hang out in be a swamp creature if you're not in a swamp. Just saying. So they create an electrical creature in the swamp. Man-Thing sees it, he goes and attacks. It goes to attack him. They fight. It burns Man-Thing because it's electrical. That's not pleasant. Man-Thing bangs on it. What good's that going to do? It's an electrical creature. It tries to tear at Man-Thing. What's that going to do? He's built out a swamp. So they just basically have spend a long time doing nothing to each other until Man-Thing happens to grab a tree stub or trunk or stick or whatever pierces the electrical creature, grounding it, somehow causing it to explode. I don't think that's how electricity works. I don't think so, Steve Gerber. You're dead, so I can't really teach you that. And he was a great writer, but I just don't think that that's how electricity works. But the backlash of this causes the globe, well, it causes the brain to overheat, and the globe to explode, and the brain ends up being dropped into the swamp, blub, blub, blub. And now the cultists are like going, oh, you did it. Oh, Akkar, Yagzan is gonna be upset at you. And he's like going, no, no, this is not fair. It's all that horrible swamp creature's fault. Urgh. End Act 1. Act 2. We have the brain. It's free. It's all free of its shackles of the globe, and it's all happy sinking into the bottom of the thing until it relives. It remembers its previous life. Yeah, it was some sad sack who was a criminal, went to jail. Someone he cared about was about ready to die, so he broke out of jail, got shot, killed, fell into the swamp, became something called the Glob, and fought the Incredible Hulk. Yeah. His consciousness re-emerged into this Glob. Yeah, Glob. Him and the Hulk fought. Something radioactive happened. They fought, and then the Glob was destroyed. Or was he? No, the brain still lived on. And now the brain is like going, hey, I can't do much as a brain. Hours have gone by. I'm going to go back up to the surface, make myself a body, because that's what I can do. I did it with a glob, I can do it again. So that's what he does. He skips across the water. It's kind of cute. It's like a brain frog. Boop, boop, boop. And then he ends up making a big tower out of the mud, and out of the tower of mud, he forms a man. Not the man that he used to be. No. This is like an idealized man. I mean, like, Hitler would be proud of this guy. He's all blonde and perfect and all of that. And naked, walking out of a swamp. Lo and behold, we cut to a scene with the cultists, and they're talking to Yazgar, or what is it? Yagzan, who happens to look incredibly like Nixon. Yeah, Yagzan looks like Nixon. And Yagzan is all like, you failed me, this is not good. And the guy's like going, no, it was that monster. And Yagzan's like going, don't be afraid of the entropy, we're all going for the entropy here. At which point, he tells the guy, recite our entropy oath. Then, I don't know if you have to do like the little Boy Scout thing or what when you do the entropy oath, but he does the entropy oath. Ashes are our destiny, we are born so that we may die. We exist without a purpose, to believe otherwise is to live a lie. Stab, stab, stab. And then he's dead. And they go about their plans to do something. They got plans. They're worshippers of entropy. These are well-organized people. They always have a plan. We cut to a scene with those truckers. Remember the truckers from the beginning? Yeah. Well, they got away with all the big, like, lightning creature, dropping a brain, swamp creature, all that fiasco. They got away. And now they're seeing this naked guy come out of the swamp. They give him a towel, and they're like going, you know what? Let's help this guy out. Chapter 3. The truck is there to build, what is this place called? Omegaville, man's last chance. It's an entirely self-sustaining little community, using no fossil fuels, it's using solar energy and stuff like that. Living in these futuristic geodesic domes that no one ever lived in the future. It's weird. And since no one could figure out where this naked guy is supposed to go, they kept him there. He's considered to be their very first resident. And they're being interviewed by Richard Rory. Now, that really has nothing to do with the story. It doesn't impart much on the story, but that's significant because if you remember before, when I was doing the She-Hulk story, she had a roommate named Richard Rory. Same guy. Yeah, he gets around. Yeah, he's like Rick Jones, except for not as popular. So he gets around. So they're telling him all their plans to be self-sufficient and stuff. Meanwhile, the cultists are like going, hey, let's get rid of the dead body that we created. And they do. They burn it. They burn it. Man-Thing watches. He doesn't like the fire. Arr, fire. Arr, ah. Except for he doesn't go arr, because he's Man-Thing and he doesn't make noises. Except for maybe like a sound when he walks. So now the cultists are going along, but the leader, Yagzan, he can sense that the brain is somewhere because he's the one who rescued the brain originally. And he built a bond with the brain. And lo and behold, he's right. The brain is nearby in the form of this naked blonde guy who's not naked all the time anymore. They gave him clothes. Okay, you know, let's be real. But he goes and finds him in Omegaville, and he's like going, look at this atrocity to entropy. Omegaville, you are too perfect. You must become that brain that I use so we can destroy everything and bring upon entropy. But unfortunately, he can't make him turn back into the brain. But he can make him turn back into something very much like the glob he was before. And Yagzan's like going, good enough. Just destroy everything. And that's what he does. Because he has, regardless of the brain having freedom, he doesn't have freedom from Yagzan. No freedom from Yagzan. So he's destroying stuff. Man-Thing comes. He's like sensing a disturbance. Gotta get rid of the disturbance. Disturbance is bad. So Omegaville's on fire. The glob is like globbing things. Man-Thing and the glob start fighting. Bits of glob are pulled off. Bits of Man-Thing are pulled off. Glob replenishes because glob has dirt to replenish from. Man-Thing replenishes because he's got swamp to replenish from. But the sheer hatred from Yagzan is causing Man-Thing pain. It's setting him back a little bit, making him more desperate in this fight. And that desperation really helps out because eventually he just digs in both of his swampy claw things into the heart of the glob and pulls it apart, splitting the glob apart into, well, globules. Yeah, I guess that's what it would split apart into, globules. Yagzan is very upset about this. You know, hey, I had a perfectly good glob here and a perfectly good brain, and now I got really neither. So he's upset. And he rushes over and he's like going, no, I can make you come back. I can make this happen. You're my brain. And the globules and the dirt reanimates, but it doesn't react the way he wants to. It actually starts just covering him from head to toe and covers him fully, crawling into his mouth and then solidifying into rock, leaving him there. That's what happens. That's the end of Yagzan. Possibly the end of that's the end of Yagzan, the Nixon-looking cult leader. Possibly the end of that entropy cult. And Swamp Thing, he just wanders off because things have kind of calmed down now, so no reason to stick around here. Nothing to see, nothing to do. And he goes home, back to the swamp and the frogs that he knows. The end. I thank you all, and we got more comic book story time coming. Thank you, Mickey. I hope you enjoyed this one as well. I got some really good ones. I'm really hoping to spin the comic book story time off into its own thing, just like a math podcast as well. But I have to figure out finances for that, and before we do that, I have to get dental work for Garfield the cat and get the other cats fixed, and then I also have to get the car fixed before like the fuel line goes boom. But that's a whole other thing. But these things are coming. Yes, they are. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you this weekend or Monday. Yeah. Bye.